It's Gladbach who get us underway here at the Mercedes-Benz Arena, with both finalists from last season knocked out of the DFB-Pokal. The doors are wide open. It's anyone's to win and everyone's to lose tonight in the first of 4 games separating them from domestic glory. Stuttgart and Gladbach go head-to-head for a spot in the quarter-finals. This game a few weeks ago in the Bundesliga ended in a 2-2 draw. Stuttgart had a lot more chances in that game, but had to rely on a 96th minute equaliser from Silas Wamangituka to take a point. Tonight, there must be a winner. James Surrogate, your match commentator, joining me, a man who got his hands on the DFB-Pokal back in 2012 with Dortmund, Patrick Overmajela. And Patrick, the opening exchanges here are crucial, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Both teams trying to show what their aim will be, what their plan will be for tonight's game, and especially those first minutes are so crucial in the cup. You can intimidate your opponent, you can, maybe fake him a little bit in how your tactical lineup will be. And I'm really curious what both coaches actually came up with, because they're really smart both and come up with so many bright ideas they switch it up every now and then during the game, so this should be an exciting fixture.
Well, corner was low. Neuhaus puts it back into the mix. Went for placement over power. Blocked, and now Silas Wamangituka a chance to use his pace, and he has support. Gonzalez to his left. Is he going to go alone? Silas Wamangituka. He's in fine form, and the fine form continues. First chance of the game goes Stuttgart way, and Silas Wamangituka with an ice-cold finish, all of his own making. Not quite the 80-meter sprint from the weekend, but it wasn't bad, was it, Patrick?
No, it wasn't bad after all. Overall, it was a great run by Silas Wamangituka, and he showed us everything that he has. He has speed, he has power, he has technique, and you'll see it here. First, that challenge, I think it's against Lars Stindl, gets him out of the way, then gets past Kramer, and of course he hasn't the speed to follow him. And then look at just how calm he is in the box, and then finds an opening. A little bit of luck there too, but of course a great goal by Wamangituka.
Well, it was some of his Stuttgart teammates after that incredible goal he scored in the 2-0 win over Mainz on Friday that said they are well aware that Silas isn't the type of player to play the pass when he has a chance for goal himself. I think it was Sasha Kalajic who gave him that moniker, and well, it's fair to say he proved his teammate right once again, but when he's scoring for fun like he is, you can't really blame him.
No, you can't blame him, and basically that's what he's there for, to score goals. He's playing a slightly different role now in this first couple of minutes. He really plays the right wing. We did expect Daniel Didavi playing that role, but he's a little further up. But that's another interesting tweak of Pellegrino Matarazzo, who just likes to mix it up and surprise maybe Marco Rosa on the other side. Worked so far.
It's worked pretty well so far, you're not wrong. Stuttgart no strangers to early goals as well. I remember one, Orel Mangala, scoring inside 30 seconds against Köln earlier this season as well. And we talked about the opening exchanges being crucial.
Yeah, of course, this is a blow to everything that Gladbach tried to do, and Wamangituka already picked the pocket of, I think it was, Benzebaini there. It's a little bit too much of pushing there. Otherwise, he would have been gone again, maybe, or his colleagues.
I was going to say that's going to be a very interesting head-to-head with Wamangituka lining up on the right wing, because Benzebaini loves to get forward. Certainly a player that can get in amongst the goals as well for Gladbach, and those two are going to push each other back and forward all evening.
Exactly, that might be the idea of Pellegrino Matarazzo, that he puts somebody who can match the speed of Benzebaini, and who's himself somebody who will like to get forward and make Benzebaini think about, being involved offensively that much. So that's an interesting move there.
Gladbach having to collect themselves, but it's not the first time this season, and likely won't be the last, that they've fallen behind in a game as Plea draws the foul.
Yeah, Waldemar Anton came from behind and kicked a little bit of Plea's leg.
I just wonder whether Stuttgart have taken a note out of Mainz's book, because Mainz on Friday really got physical with Stuttgart, made their presence felt, let's say, with a few very tough challenges, and they seem to be taking that same approach with Gladbach tonight.
Yeah, I mean, usually the team with a lack of quality to their ranks is the team who's trying to be more physical. In this case, I wouldn't really say that Stuttgart is lacking quality when it comes to playing football. Maybe a little bit of experience and coldness, can I say that? But of course, it's usually a good idea to play against teams that like to play football, be a little physical.
That was a dangerous delivery from Stefan Leiner. Fabian Bredlow gets his first touch of the ball, an important one to gobble it up. He only had one to aim for in the box there, Stefan Leiner, but expect him to get up and down that right wing for Gladbach all evening. Regularly a player that covers a lot of ground for the Foals. Gonzalez turning away from Kramer. An errant pass, a rare one there from Stuttgart.
And there's again that moment when Wamangituka got past Stindl.
It's a 50-50, Patrick, but is there a hint of a foul in there?
I wouldn't say it's a foul. Both went for the ball, and Wamangituka was had a little bit more connection to the ground, I would say. And yeah, his statue did the rest. And after that, it was all his speed and his making.
Yeah, his teammates won't mind him not passing in those moments, providing he keeps scoring the goals, and that is goal number 13 in all competitions for Silas Wamangituka. 5 goals in his last 5 games now. A rich vein of goal-scoring form for a man that Pellegrino Matarazzo described as having potential that knows no bounds. And poor old Benzobaini has been in the wars in the opening 7 minutes here. A player that only recently made his return.
Yeah, got a little tangled up there in the legs and then might flicked his ankle a little bit. Wasn't really a foul. They just tangled together with their feet.
Yeah, it looked innocuous from Mavropanos. Gladbach trying to respond. Here's Plea trying to feed it to Stindl. Anton committed and went to ground early.
Now Stindl was calling for a handball there. I think it hit his elbow. That's what he's trying to tell Daniel Siebert. We'll have another look. Yeah, but that elbow isn't going anywhere, so it's really connected to the body.
Yeah, the shadow stayed the same size. Now the corner for Gladbach. Had a couple already, but struggling to beat the first man tonight with their deliveries, the Foals.
Yeah, but it's going to be that kind of game for Gladbach tonight. Be patient, you know. It's still a lot of time. Of course, Stuttgart is always dangerous. Now they're leading, but it doesn't really change too much. I think it's rather the new setup that Matarazzo gave his team on the way, and the way they play it is something that Marco Rose is still trying to figure out together with his team.
Now, something Matarazzo, the New Jersey native, has done so well is the fact that he has added variety to Stuttgart's game as well. They set up in a similar shape more often than not, but they are versatile within that shape as well. And it can give opponents lots of different looks throughout the 90 minutes. It keeps them guessing. And the fact is, I look at these two sides, Patrick, and think there are a lot of similarities, but for me, Stuttgart are the more raw side, whereas Gladbach the more refined.
Yeah, you could absolutely say that. I would say there's still a little bit of polishing to do in this team. There's still a little bit more potential that isn't touched yet in that Stuttgart team, and that's what's actually really promising, because they, so far as a team that just got promoted again after the year in the second league, it's fantastic to see how they're doing, and there's still so much to come for them. That's promising for Sven Mislintat and Matarazzo and the whole club.
It's fair to say the early goal hasn't ruffled Gladbach's feathers too much. Not the ideal situation for them. Of course, as Wamangituka, again, it's another challenge involving the goal scorer for Stuttgart. This time Hoffmann on the receiving end.
Yeah, he reached for that ball, actually got it, but got a little bit of the foot of Jonas Hoffmann too. I didn't see a real foul there, but yeah, we're still early. Everybody has to warm up. Daniel Siebert as well. And Matarazzo just gave us a look.
I think he agreed with you.
Yeah, he was agreeing with me, that's for sure. Now we see Stuttgart is not really falling back behind and waiting and lurking for Gladbach to act. They're still defending quite high, actually.
It's interesting to see as well off screen. Jonas Hoffmann is trying to pin Silas Wamangituka a little further inside his own half. For now, they build down the right-hand side. Gladbach with Marcus Thuram. Oh, it's a fierce delivery, but again, it's straight into the gloves of Bredlo. But they're getting into the right positions.
They're absolutely doing that, but whenever it's Thuram or Plea that come out over the wings, then that's not really anybody in the center. So they need to have other guys like Jonas Hoffmann or maybe a Seiler Stefan Leiner, that should come over the wings and then deliver that ball for these other guys.
Hoffmann linking up with Plea, little 1-2, but it didn't quite work out for them. The clearance straight to the feet of Silas Wamangituka, and he sees a lot of green ahead of him.
There's a lot of white legs there now going forward.
And they've shifted it well to Borna Sosa. He's got a great delivery on him. That is a beautiful cross. And in the end, maybe just a little too high for Gonzalez, who was up early.
Yeah, I think he was already on the way down when he touched that ball. But it was a good cross over the left side from Borna. And then, as you mentioned, yeah, he jumped a little early, I think. Timing wasn't that perfect. Otherwise, this could have been the second goal for Stuttgart.
Well, it was almost the opposite way round to the Mainz game. It was Wamangituka who scored second in that one. Sosa, it was a peach of a cross that picked out Sasa Kalajic in that game that opened the scoring for Stuttgart in the second half. And that was interestingly his last action of the game, because he picked up an injury right before it, hadn't been able to be substituted, got the cross off, got the assist, went off injured, end of his night, and happy days really for Borna Sosa.
Yeah. He dropped the mic, yeah. That's how you do it, in style. If you leave in style.
Yeah, but he recovered from the knock to feature in the starting lineup today, and here he is. Borna Sosa loves to get forward. Really think the wing play might be where this game is won and lost. Sosa against Leiner, Wamangituka against Benzabaini. Oh, it's good play by Mangala to skip past a few challenges.
Yeah. First, Stindl slept on this one, and then he nutmegged actually Neuhaus. I think Florian Neuhaus was it. Yeah, there you go. Couldn't get precision behind that ball, but another good moment. And that's what Stuttgart actually needs. They want to show Gladbach that they're absolutely on level, and they really mean business tonight. As you mentioned, their home stretch hasn't been as expected as they wanted it to be. And of course, this will be a great time to get another home win and to advance into the next round of the DFB Cup.
On the bench there for Gladbach, Max Abel, the sporting director. He took January off, and I think well-deserved for Max Abel. He's come back refreshed and raring to go, and he was delighted to see that his side was successful in his absence.
But of course, it would be a bummer to come back and then see your team lose after they'd done so well while you were gone.
Yeah, he said he celebrated every goal while he was away, and he was in touch, I know, with Lars Stindl as well, who's talked about it in an interview. But he has done such a fantastic job, Max Abel, with Gladbach since taking over the role. Before he took January off, he signed a contract extension through to 2026. But it's been a huge project that he's been a key figure in terms of establishing Gladbach as a regular competitor in the top 6 or top 4 even.
Yep. And we talked about being physical. At least Waldemar Anton heard the news and got the memo. It's the second time now that Lasson Plea is feeling a little bit of Anton.
Were you a fan of an early, strong challenge as a defender yourself during your playing career?
No, I wasn't at all, actually. I was always trying to steal that ball, not just to defend it, but to steal that ball. And it wasn't my type of game, but I appreciated players in my team that did that, because obviously you need a few of those too. Somebody has to do the dirty work.
Yeah, and right now, Stuttgart are doing their fair bit of dirty work in this game, but it's preventing Gladbach from establishing a rhythm here, which is so important for the home side. Because when Gladbach find their rhythm, they're hard to stop. But in the 1-1 draw against Union on the weekend, the capital city side really gave the blueprint of how to frustrate and foil Gladbach's movements. Took a moment of individual brilliance from Alassane Plea to get an equaliser in that game, as we see Thuram draw the foul from Borna Sosa. Thomas Hitzelsberger, the sporting director for Stuttgart. Again, a bit like Max Abel, doing great work, but he's in the early stages of his development with the club.
Yeah, absolutely. But being a CEO at that age of such a club and with such rich, or that's such rich. Oh, let's wait. Oh, I thought that would.
Well, it skipped through all the bodies. It beat the first man, though, for the first time tonight from Gladbach.
Yeah, and it got a touch by Stuttgart, so here comes another possession. No, but it's early in his career as a CEO for this young team, and having a sporting director like Sven Mislintat, who's really experienced working for teams like Borussia Dortmund and Arsenal and so on, and you can already see what they're trying to do here with this young, well put together team that they have down there, and a terrific or an incredible coach actually, who has a lot of potential himself. So there's good times to come for both, actually, for the coach Matarazzo and for Hitzelsberger as a CEO, even though there were some disturbings going on in these recent weeks, but I think that's off the table now.
Yeah, a few rumblings behind the scenes, but nothing too serious by all accounts. Gladbach keeping pressure on Stuttgart here inside their own half, but they're having to be so careful in tight spaces, and it's another challenge that's gone flying in. And the Gladbach players are starting to take exception to this, and it's Konstantinos Mavropanos who's the first in the book.
Yeah, and rightfully so. I think there was a lot of risk involved. This one, Didavi actually came from behind, and then Mavropanos came from the front. Really was risking injuring Stindl here.
Yeah, yellow card there from referee Daniel Siebert, just to try and maybe calm the tempers here, because it has been a heated opening. This is the DFB-Pokal. There's a magic to the cup, but there's also a fighting spirit that comes along with it. That's a good delivery, and well, Bredlow, I think it was actually his own teammates that took him out mid-air, but it's a strong punch from the Stuttgart goalkeeper. And now all the way down the other end with his counterpart Tobias Sippel. A nice trend that both head coaches tonight, again rewarding their backup keepers for their hard work in training with a start in the cup. Tobias Sippel tonight conceding for the first time this season, thanks to Silas Wamangituka's opening goal inside 2 minutes. Benzabaini is in a lot of space in the middle. He made a great run, but the pass not coming from Thuram. Instead, he's gone it alone here. Thuram, it's dangerous. It's right in the mix, but no one with the vital touch for Gladbach. Surviving the scare were Stuttgart, and it's behind now for a corner, and it just needed a touch, Patrick.
Yeah, it was fantastic how Thuram got past his defender and then was trying to find Plea at center, I think, but there were a lot of wide legs there in between, a lot of Stuttgart players to defend that. But of course it was a good try, good effort. Gladbach is knocking on the door.
Yeah, Kempf couldn't stop Thuram. Mavropanos got the touch that almost turned it into an own goal, and Anton then clearing off the line, so...
Yeah, Benzabaini was in promising position actually a little earlier, but then had to wait since Thuram first went round. I think there's something to be checked, but nope.
Change of angle here for Gladbach. Stindl now towards the back post. Neuhaus out to Benzabaini. Behind for yet another corner for Gladbach. The pressure is starting to mount, and they are starting to turn the screw.
Yeah, Gladbach kind of sorted out now what Stuttgart is trying to do and how they trying to play in the build-up, and Gladbach finds more and more ways of stopping Stuttgart from doing so.
That's a good corner. Benzabaini attacking it again.
Yeah, I think that was the wrong idea. Should have collected that ball and play it forward. But I think Waldemar Anton thought that the touch came from a Gladbach player.
Stuttgart still playing themselves into trouble a little bit here. Chance for Leiner to cross. It's behind the bodies in the box. There were only 2 in there for the Foles.
Yeah, Stuttgart has to find a way now to get in possession of the ball and get some time to breathe, recollect.
Oh, Thuram caught late there. I believe it was Waldemar Anton again, and if it was, he's got to be careful because he's put in a fair few challenges.
Yeah,
free kick taken quickly here by Gladbach, trying to catch Stuttgart out a little bit. Lars Stindl around the corner. Oh, it's dangerous, but again, no one in the right place at the right time to apply the finishing touches.
I think Lars Stindl and Stefan Leiner surprised all the others in their own team with this ball. Actually, Elvedi came close of touching that ball. Could have been on his next goal, since he had some fantastic weeks in the Bundesliga where he scored some goals.
Yeah, 3 goals in the Bundesliga this season for Nico Elvedi. He'd never scored more than 2 in a single season, and he scored twice in a pretty memorable 4-2 win against Borussia Dortmund not too long ago either.
Yeah, you had to, right?
Sorry to remind you. Sorry to remind you, Patrick. But context is needed sometimes.
But this game, turned a little bit. I was about to say that, and actually this moment proved that again. Benzabaini this time, probably a little payback, even though Didavi wasn't the one. Yeah, but that was clearly something Benzabaini had in mind to do.
Yeah, he was on the stretch, and when you're stretching, that tends to be where mistakes are made. Benzabaini has been on the receiving end of a few fouls and now picks up a yellow card for one on Didavi.
Yeah, but I was about to say this game turned a little bit into something. It looked really good. They played fast football in the beginning, but now it's roughened up a little bit more. It got more physical and harder fought challenges.
Kalajic, that's a nice little knockdown. It almost made its way through to Didavi. Endo, first the loose ball. Can't find a teammate. A few slick passes from Gladbach, and look at them break. Hofmann just slowed his roll for a second. Plea ahead of Benzabaini. Here is Alassane Plea. He's been struggling for goals in the Bundesliga. The one against Union on Saturday, just his 3rd of the season in Germany's top flight, but in the Champions League he's been scoring for fun. 5 goals, 4 assists in 6 games at Europe's top table.
Yeah, and he's moving the rows as you like it as a coach. You have to have some player that is moving a lot of defenders, getting their attention so others can shine. And I think Alassane Plea is really comfortable with this situation and his involvement in both the Bundesliga and, of course, the Champions League.
It was a neat play from Mavropanos.
Yeah, something you don't really expect at first if you see him. His build, and of course his position too. But obviously capable of doing something with his feet.
He was 23 years of age. The Greek centre-back on loan from Arsenal. The way he's playing and the way he's slotted into this Stuttgart side, you could see them looking to make that move permanent, because it's fair to say his chances of first-team football limited with the Gunners.
Yep. They just got another player that used to play for Stuttgart and was playing recently for Schalke in the Bundesliga, Kabak, who went to Arsenal, so not really a need for central centre-backs there. But Stuttgart is happy to have him, that's for sure.
Gonzalez. Well, he thought Wamangituka was going to continue the run. Not quite on the same wavelength. And as a result, the attack peters out, but Stuttgart still pressing high. Wataru Endo, he is one of the unsung heroes of this side. It's interesting, you have Thomas Müller, who's known as the Raumdeuter in Germany, which is the space invader, is the English translation. And Wataru Endo, known as the Raumschließer in German, which is the space closer, because it's what he does so well for this Stuttgart side. And they need him, given the attacking talent they have, Patrick.
Yeah.
His role is so important.
It's very crucial, and the way he plays it. I just spoke to Sven Mislintat before the game, and he said Endo is one of his key players to this system, to the way his coach likes to play. And he perfectly fills that role.
Oh, good ball in from Wamangituka, and it was there for Kalajdzic to attack. He took the invitation but couldn't turn it on target. But another worrying sign for Marco Rosa's side. Won't be pleased with the fact that they've fallen behind. Gladbach back in the round of 16 in the DFB-Pokal for the first time since the 2017-18 campaign. It's Benzabaini again on the receiving end, and he stayed down this time, but play goes on. Chance brewing for Stuttgart. Gonzalez, shot blocked. And Kalajdzic, well, I thought he was going to let it go out for a corner, then he dug out the cross. And now the ball will go out of play. Marco Rosa not happy that play wasn't stopped.
It was a loud scream from Benzabaini, who shows a little bit of a hand being involved to the face. Yeah, there was touch of hands, but it wasn't an elbow, it wasn't a hit or anything. I think actually Mangala was trying to prevent them from colliding, but touched his face.
Yeah, that's it. Only had eyes for the ball and was bracing himself, but yes, did clip Benzabaini as a result.
Yeah, a little too much acting, in my opinion. And Marco Rosa jumped on it. Of course, trying to protect his player.
Well, he's certainly a vocal head coach on the sidelines, isn't he, Marco Rosa? He picked up a yellow card in the 1-1 draw against Union, which is the 4th of his career since joining Gladbach. So he's known for certainly making his opinions heard, let's say, Patrick.
He's emotional, and I don't think it's a bad thing. Sometimes I wish those coaches would, keep some things more to themselves. But of course, I mean, he still isn't that far away from being a player himself, being at a young age, just in the midst of 40s. And so I understand where this emotion is coming from. What I don't understand sometimes is that when you obviously see that your players are faking it, why jump on it? I mean, yeah. But what do I know? Loyalty, probably, yeah.
That's all part of being a team. But I do agree with you, Patrick, every now and again.
Actually, I was that kind of player. I had a couple of teammates that liked to, try to get them foul calls.
Oh, good ball through. Hoffmann in behind, but his first touch took him backwards, and the offside flag was there to deny him anyway.
Yeah. Well, it was a good idea, actually. It could have been a good moment. Now, I had my fair share of teammates that like to, draw fouls or fake some moments, and I didn't like it. I was complaining during the game, actually, and said, stop that nonsense. It's breaking our rhythm, and, it gets you nowhere. And, yeah.
I'll be kind to you, Patrick, and not ask for any names. As Stuttgart come forward here, Kalajdzic, again a hint of an offside, but he had to check his run to stay onside, and then as a result, didn't quite have the pace to keep it in play.
Yeah, Sosa got that pass off a little late, otherwise it could have been a great run from Kalajdzic with Gonzalez together.
Is it fair to say with half an hour, just as we approach the half-hour mark, that this game is meeting expectations? We knew it was going to be attacking, expansive. There's space there for both teams to exploit. Yeah, I didn't think it would get that physical this early, but we have everything. We had a goal, we had fun, we had some moments there, we have fights and everything. I think tactical lineups, switching from this to something else and back again. So I think we see a fantastic game so far. Only thing that's missing actually is spectators. That would be really great to have the audience, some roaring, some oohs and ahs. Well, I will definitely not disagree with you there. As there's still a magic about the cup, but it definitely loses a bit of its sparkle without the fans that make it so special on nights like this. And that's it, both head coaches were talking about it. Matarazzo saying the DFB is always an exciting competition. We're full of energy and ready for the next step into the quarterfinals. And Rosa saying that the last 16 ties are always exciting. It's a one-off knockout match. And that's what makes a competition like the DFB-Pokal so appealing. And of course, this is Germany's only cup competition. Other leagues are blessed with 2. There's only one shot at domestic glory that isn't the Bundesliga title here in Germany. And this season, with Bayern knocked out by Holstein Kiel in the second round, Leverkusen knocked out by Rot-Weiss Essen, the chance is there. We are guaranteed to have a new winner of the title. But I just wonder whether we might have a surprise package this season as well.
Would be nice, but yet again, turning back on that point of having no spectators there, just imagine all this so-called small teams, those surprising teams like Essen and Kiel, for instance, as well, and how they are doing in this cup, even without their fans, and how big that would be for their fans to, you know, just witness those kind of games and those kind of moments. That would be fantastic. But it's taken all away from basically anybody in this sport, in the world at this moment, but we hope for better times.
But I have thought maybe that it's a motivating factor to say to your players as a head coach, come on, we've got to stay in this competition because there is a chance that come the final, fans might be there, or come the semi-finals, fans might be there. Maybe not sold-out stadiums, but maybe a proportion of fans might have returned by then.
Yeah, it might be. You're absolutely right. And it might be. But I think you don't need that kind of motivation to stay in the cup as long as possible, because there's so many approaches: money, fame, and of course success.
Wamangituka played through by Gonzalez, back to the Argentinian now, who's enjoying this role of creative playmaker as he goes for goal with what was half cross, half shot. Alvedi with a head to the ball now. Wamangituka. Benzabaini stayed with him this time and is out for a throw-in.
Yeah, but we talked about this matchup, and Benzabaini is working hard defensively. Has been involved a little bit offensively, but defensively he's really bound to watch what Wamangituka is doing. So that was a clever move from the Stuttgart coach Matarazzo to match that position.
A loose ball is going to go Gladbach's way, but Sosa taking the better safe than sorry approach, and back to Fabian Bredlow. And both of these sides are 3 times winners of the DFB-Pokal. And interestingly, also 5 times German champions, both teams. So mirroring each other in that respect.
Yeah, and for both, it's been a while. Actually, for Gladbach, a little longer than Stuttgart. But both have a rich history in the Bundesliga, in the sports, and in this competition as well. And yeah, it's just fantastic to see how Stuttgart is reviving themselves, actually, after the relegation a couple of years back and the promotion and the way they're doing it. It's really good to see that this club is coming back to old strength, let's say.
That's it. They were relegated from the Bundesliga in the 2015-16 season. And that was their first relegation in 41 years. And they suffered the same fate at the end of the 2018-19 campaign. And while they did bounce back into the top tier in between, it certainly showed that the second time round, they really learned their lessons. They really did hit that restart button. And it has provided the foundation that they've built on, and they've provided the foundation for this very dynamic young side.
Yep. Many clubs don't really hit that restart button. They're trying to, you know, stick to what they've been doing, stick probably to most parts of the team, and you know, and it can work, but it's usually a hard approach. But because second Bundesliga is so much different from first Bundesliga, and that's what the players experience and the club experience, and that's what's frustrating for everybody, actually. But Stuttgart learned that the first time after 40 years being relegated. They tried it, they kept some players, and they tried to just bounce back easily, and it didn't really work out.
Thuram with the shot, it's blocked.
No. And the second time, they learned their lessons. They started new players, fresh faces, everything fresh in the club, actually. Turned it almost upside down, and it seemed to be working quite well.
Yeah, it was a revamp that really brought them into the modern era, as opposed to just papering over the cracks following the relegation. Plea, he was bending his run, he's timed it well, but he can only sting the palms of Fabian Bredlow. But that was the first time we've seen the Frenchman really spark interaction, the French connection with Thuram coming to the fore.
He mishit that ball a little bit, couldn't get the speed and the precision on it, but obviously he's trying to get closer and giving Fabian Bredlow a hard time. But he can do better than that, that's for sure. Too much physical effort there from Florian Neuhaus.
Well, I have to say, I thought Mavropanos may be a little lucky there because he did get caught wrong side of his man, but the decision goes his way as we see the chance for Plea again.
Yeah, and we see that his shoelace is untied. Maybe that's why he couldn't really connect with that ball. Should be careful with the things you work with.
Well, I can tell you he's tied them up now. He just spent a couple of minutes doing that with some chilly fingers, I'm sure.
Yeah, but that's what you do. After these kind of moments, you look down. Oh, I think there was an overbend to that knee of Mavropanos, or that ankle.
I was going to say, the knee didn't seem to move in a particularly pleasant way there, Patrick.
Yeah, that looked nasty, actually, a little bit. That's what they're checking at the moment. But it doesn't seem to be that bad. Otherwise, you would see a different reaction from Mavropanos himself. He's not really too frustrated. So I hope it's not a bad injury he picked up there.
And whenever you see a footballer worrying about his knee, you tend to fear the worst. It's one of those areas of the body that you don't want to be tweaking in any which way, as we see there the Stuttgart hierarchy. Sven Mislintat back left, Thomas Hitzelsberger front and centre. It was Sven Mislintat that said that the DFB-Pokal is Stuttgart's version of the Champions League this season, and they've certainly taken it to a Champions League caliber side in Gladbach. Caught them early at the goal through Silas Waman-Gituka inside the opening 2 minutes. First chance of the game converted by the home side. Since then, they've tried to manage the game. They have been under pressure from Gladbach, but so far holding firm, keeping clear-cut chances at a premium. One just a few moments ago from Alassane Plea, arguably the best that Gladbach have had.
Yeah, together with that moment when Thuram broke through over the right side, and then there was almost an own goal from Waldemar Anton. But you're absolutely right. Gladbach now in a much better position, actually. They are closer to leveling that game than Stuttgart is maybe to adding to the lead.
This is well played, though, from Stuttgart. And, well, that was a vital touch from the captain, Lars Stindl. Took it off the toes of Wataru Endo.
Yep, but then Waldemar Anton took it off the toes of the Alassane Plea, so it's going back and forth, up and down. Still an interesting football game. A little more intense than the first 10-15 minutes, but exciting nonetheless.
Very important, though, for Stuttgart to keep things tight, preserve that one-goal lead before half-time, although I'm sure they wouldn't say no to extending it. Borna Sosa, a man that Sven Mislintat described as having some of the best crosses in the Bundesliga, ready to deliver once again. It's a good delivery, it took a touch. Fell kind in the end for Marcus Thuram. No options ahead of him. Kalajic clips the heels. Thuram won't have seen it, but there was a hand by way of apology there from Kalajic. And now it's Gladbach building the attack with Stefan Leiner. Plea one-on-one with Anton.
Yeah, and he takes that corner since there was nobody really at center. This corner gives his team time to get a breather, maybe get something out of a set play.
Neuhaus with the strike, and you have to say it's a pure strike. Good technique, just not quite getting his angles right there. But if there's a player on the pitch that can score a goal like that, Florian Neuhaus is pretty near the top of the list, Patrick.
Absolutely, he's capable of doing that, doing some damage from outside of the box, something we don't see too much, you know, nowadays, since teams like to play fancy and have all these fancy technical strikers. But why not a proper decent hit from outside the box? Can get you to the promised land as well.
And speaking of the promised land, I'll hold the thought, because chance here for Gladbach. Stindl's ball just behind Liner, and he can't quite dig it out, but given away by Sosa. Stindl trying to clip it towards Neuhaus once again.
And this looks like the moment we had that led to the early goal, where Mangala was running, but Tobias Zipper was aware of the threat.
Channeling his inner Manuel Neuer there, Tobias Zipper. But the question I was going to ask you, Patrick, talking of the promised land, what do you think Marco Rul's message will be to his side at half-time? What do they need to change?
I mean, not too much, since they doing stuff better. They slept a little, they overslept a little maybe the beginning of this game, and they were caught wrong by Stuttgart in that moment. That surprised him. I think the lineup surprised Marco Rose and his teams again a little bit, but I think they figured it out. They will adjust that in halftime as well, and then do more of the same. They are there, they have the possession, they get into the rooms where they can do critical stuff, but they just have to be more efficient.
Well, rule anything out at your own peril. In the DFB-Pokal, the surprises have been few and far between. It's a nice little combination play down the left-hand side. Wamman Gatuka going to keep the chance alive here for Stuttgart, linking up with Gonzalez. Questions this season as to whether we're seeing a new Magische Dreieck, or Magic Triangle as it was known, form here at Stuttgart. Kalajdzic, Gonzalez, Wamman Gatuka. Of course, it was Giovanni Elbert, Krasimir Balakov and Freddy Bobic who formed the original Magische Dreieck. Silas Wamman Gatuka scoring at a rate of goals that hasn't been seen actually since Freddy Bobic was on the books here at Stuttgart, the now sporting director with Eintracht Frankfurt. 11 goals after 19 games in the Bundesliga for Wamman Gatuka. The last time that was achieved by a Stuttgart player was Bobic in the 1996-97 campaign. Well, they're scrapping away in midfield, but it's Gladbach who come away with it, and, well, maybe spoke too early there. But it is scrappy, and that will suit Stuttgart. Immediately, Wamman Gatuka doubled up on there. Gladbach are going to take no further chances with the Frenchman. Endo. Just can't thread the needle, and actually Stuttgart have played themselves into a tricky position here. The counter was on for Gladbach, but they've slowed their roll just a touch. Kramer now behind Neuhaus, and that's a sloppy concession of possession from Gladbach, just as they were looking to build forward. Instead now forced onto the back foot. Here's Orel Mangala. Sosa in space out wide. Chance to cross. Oh, it's a brilliant delivery! But the offside flag is up against Daniel Didavi. Well, that would have been the icing on the cake of this first half for Stuttgart. They scored early in the first half. Had they wrapped it up with a second at the end. So we take a look at this again. Oh, I tell you, it's a fraction if it is. Hard to tell from that angle of that replay. But the video assistant, Tobias Weltz, tonight will take a look at this, and so too Pellegrino Matarazzo. Beauty of replays nowadays, that everyone can have a look. But the goal is not going to stand. Didavi adjudged to have been in an offside position, so the original decision stands as we see 2 minutes of time added on at the end of the first half here at the Mercedes-Benz Arena. The only goal of the game so far, thanks to Silas Waman Gatuka. It was scored early inside the opening 2 minutes of the game. But the fact is, we have seen a very open, expansive and entertaining encounter here as Mavropanos just caught on his heels there by Jonas Hofmann. Is there one final chance in the half for Gladbach? Well, not if Neuhaus can't produce the pass. Goes to Ginter this time. Gets it back, Neuhaus. Ginter breaks the lines very well now. Marcus Thuram onto his left foot. Oh, Marcus Thuram! A stunning equaliser on the stroke of half-time. Stuttgart have a goal ruled out at one end. Gladbach go down the other. And just like Alassane Plea against Union on the weekend, it is a moment of individual brilliance, this time delivered by Marcus Thuram. A sensational strike. He had Kempf on his heels, and he took full advantage. Sixth goal of the season in all competitions for Marcus Thuram. And that was a special one. And the half-time team talks right now for Marco Rosa and Pellegrino Matarazzo are being ripped up as I speak. Stuttgart will be a little bit heartbroken going in at half-time. They looked on course to take a one-goal lead in at the break. An early goal from Silas Waman Gatuka inside the opening 2 minutes, but it was an equaliser from Marcus Thuram inside a minute of the half-time whistle that has levelled the scores at the Mercedes-Benz Arena, which means it is all to play for in the second half with a spot in the DFB-Pokal quarter-finals on the line. Join us again for the second half. It ended all square in the Bundesliga between these two sides. It cannot end all square tonight. And if it does, we'll be going to extra time and potentially penalties. But something tells me that both of these teams will be looking to avoid that. James Surrogate, your match commentator. I am delighted to say that I'm joined again for the second half by a man who won this competition in 2012, Patrick Overmoyela. And Patrick, in a game between two sides that have been so evenly matched, is it not surprising that it's two moments of individual brilliance that have ultimately brought about the goals, first from Waman Gatuka and then from Thuram?
Yeah, it's actually no surprise to me. I thought both teams were having their fair share of chances to score in this game, and both teams did. Maybe Gladbach with the upper hand in chances overall, but the way Stuttgart opened this game was spectacular. I thought they lost a little bit of being dangerous there during the game. They were too mixed up in those physicalness down on the pitch and forgot to be, playing football, enjoying that and creating dangerous situations. And that was what was leading to Gladbach being more and more comfortable, more and more in control of this game, and with the majority of chances in this game rightfully leveled it very late though.
Kalajic skipping away from a few challenges, getting involved in the build-up play, but he's had his chances limited tonight. One header in the first half that sticks out in the memory. And that is the problem for Stuttgart, is the early goal actually seemed to see them regress, and they were so intent on trying to defend that one-goal lead. The priorities shifted. And as a result, they allowed Gladbach to start establishing a rhythm. And we said in the first half, once they do that, they are very hard to stop. But I have to ask, from a former player's perspective, Patrick, how big a psychological blow is conceding right on the stroke of half-time?
Yeah, it works during the halftime as well, and it's a bummer to pick it up that late, especially if you had the chance just before on the other side to add to the lead. Actually, they scored a goal which was taken away because of offside position, and rightfully so. But then it's a double bummer that you on the other side collect or concede a goal, and then again just before the halftime whistle. That's unnecessary, and you want to avoid that, but sometimes you can. And now it's up to Stuttgart how they survive that, how they live with that, and how they try to turn things around. It's been their chance too at halftime to come up with a new idea.
Mangala there, thought he was clipped by Kramer. He stayed down, Mangala, but play goes on. No foul given by Daniel Siebert, the referee. Mangala is now back up to his feet and moving freely, it has to be said, as he tracks back off screen. For now, Gladbach taking a more patient approach with this build-up, but that's a lovely pass. And just like that, in the blink of an eye, it goes so quickly for Gladbach, but Neuhaus off balance when he took the shot was always going to be difficult.
Yeah, switch and pace there between Stindl and then Neuhaus, who picked that pass up and went straight towards the goal of Fabian Bredlow. That's something, I mean, I mentioned during the first half that Gladbach has to be patient, and they were patient. They waited until the very last second of the first half to level that game, but they were creating chances on the way there and constantly working on that. And now it's a big chance for Förster over the left.
Here is the halftime substitute, Philip Förster, looking to find Kalajic. Oh, slip at the vital moment from Silas Wamangituka. And it stops Stuttgart in their tracks, but they're starting the second half much like they did the first half, Patrick.
Yeah, with the pedal to the metal, absolutely going forward, and that's the right direction. And they have another look at that situation. Mangala thought he was clipped, but it didn't really look that way to me. No, Stuttgart is trying to do more of the same, how they started the first half and try to surprise and catch Gladbach early off guard. But Gladbach, of course, is warned now after living through those first couple of minutes here in that game.
Yeah, Pellegrino Matarazzo, who we just saw on our screen a few moments ago, has talked about the fact that football is a fickle business. Fine margins, but a slip there from Bredlow, and Plea has the goal at his mercy. And from those types of position, when you give him an invite like that, Alassane Plea is always likely to accept. And it's the French connection for Borussia Mönchengladbach that has seen them come from a goal down to take a 2-1 lead.
Yeah, and they got lucky actually twice here. First of all, this is no offside, since I think it's Mavropanos that was still in there. And then Fabian Bredlow actually slipped when he was trying to come out of goal, and he wasn't really sure, can I get there or no? And as he was trying to turn around and get back, he slipped and opened up the sunshine for Alassane Plea. Yeah, they tried to make the best out of it, but the problem was done before when he slipped, because he wasn't really sure. Once you decide to get out, you have to get out and give it your all, and maybe that's sometimes too risky. What they're going to check now is the offside position by Alassane Plea, but I think it was fair to say that Mavropanos was still at least level in height on the pitch.
I have to say, you sounded confident, Patrick. And it does stand. Gladbach have a 2-1 lead, so Patrick, you were right to be confident, and that's why you're the former player.
You sound so surprised. I don't know why.
I just thought it was tight. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it was close, but I think you know, it was enough to say that this is was no offside actually. Mavropanos was a little too late with his effort to get Plea into an offside position. Yeah, that's a bummer. I mean, again, the slip by Fabian Bredlow allowed Alassane Plea to easily collect his next goal in an extra competition, which is working for him quite well. We mentioned that he only scored 3 times in the Bundesliga, but a couple of times in international and now the DFB Cup.
Yeah, but scoring in back-to-back games will be so important for him as well, because he is certainly a rhythm and confidence striker, Alassane Plea. Stuttgart haven't been thrown off their game plan. Here they come again with goalscorer Wamangituka.
Yeah, if there's something's for certain, then that... Well.
Oh, now the break is on again for Gladbach if they can move through the gears. That was an important challenge just to throw Neuhaus out of his stride.
Yeah, I was about to say that if something is for certain, and that this Stuttgart team is not, letting off. They are not, stopping from trying to level that game again and to make this game theirs, and that's what they've done. Actually, when they played against them in Bundesliga, they were in behind twice in that game, and in the end, it was a 2-2. It won't be a 2-2. You mentioned that early, but this is far from over.
Förster, another chance to deliver. Good block on it from Matthias Ginter. He's having another excellent performance at centre-back for Gladbach, but then that really doesn't come as a surprise anymore.
I like how both teams actually play with an open visor at the moment. Both let their guard down and exchange punches here a little bit. That's exactly what I expected, this to be a fun game to watch and to work on. And they're not disappointing us.
No, absolutely not. This is once again playing into the narrative of the DFB-Pokal this season, where there are so many storylines, so many thrills and spills, as I keep describing them. And we were expecting a fair few in this game, and it has delivered. It was a 96th minute equaliser, we should remind you, from Silas Wamangituka in that 2-2 draw a few weeks ago. But there's a lovely break in behind here for Gladbach. Benzabaini had marauded forward, but the end product didn't quite match the build-up.
But it's good to see how they try to catch Wamangituka off guard in that kind of new role where he's very much involved in defending, which is usually not the biggest part of his menu. That's something they try to do. Use Benzabaini to catch him off guard, to get in behind Wamangituka and then feed the centers with Plea and Thuram. And Wamangituka was somebody at the end of first half who was breathing heavily, since he's doing a different kind of job than usual. He kind of feels that, and he's not having all the pace up and down anymore as he started the game with.
That's it, defensive duties normally an appetizer for Wamangituka tonight, arguably a main course, but it's the dessert that saw him put Stuttgart ahead, and there might still be a cherry on top later on in this game. Nothing being ruled out here, and I think it's fair to say that a one-goal lead between these two sides is not enough, and they're both well aware of it given that 2-2 draw.
Yeah, absolutely. I expect at least 2 more goals until we hear the final whistle, but that might include the extra time and the extra 30 minutes.
Well, I was going to say I had 5 goals last night with Dortmund, but it did take extra time for it. After what happened last night, I don't think any late goals should really come as a surprise to anyone. Kramer does well under pressure. Benzabaini, oh, that's a lovely inventive pass right to feet for Lars Stindl. The Gladbach captain drawing the foul. He's in the form of his career, arguably, Lars Stindl, given his goal-scoring form. Gladbach as a whole have 65 goals in 27 games in all competitions before tonight. 19 different goal scorers. Lars Stindl leads the way with 12.
Yeah, he is important to that team, and I don't know if he was ever more important than this season, as you mentioned. Also in the Champions League, he had some fantastic and important games and goals. And he's just the captain of that ship in Gladbach. And he got a little rest on the weekend, but now he's back and had already a few moments where he has proven that he's really important for his teammates.
As Marco Rose has talked about the fact that he needs to manage his squad in light of the burden on the schedule, and of course Gladbach have that Champions League first leg round of 16 tie against Manchester City at Borussia Park coming up later this month on the 24th of February. A couple of Bundesliga games between then. For now, here come Stuttgart with Gonzalez, and well, a snapshot, but it was there to be taken. just couldn't find the target and test Sippel.
Yeah, we see a lot of Stuttgart at the moment. This is the next chance where they could easily have collected another goal. And we have another look on that goal, and it is very close. That left shoulder of Mavropanos is the same height as Alassane Plea. I was very confident. I stand corrected here. It was very, very close. But of course, I was right in the end. Anyway, so
and that's all that matters.
That's all that matters, exactly. Do the right decisions at the right time. But no, we're seeing a lot of Stuttgart. So they're absolutely trying to get in there, back in that game. Control the ball a little more than Gladbach is doing, but Gladbach is having these kind of opportunities, even though Plea is giving this away since his teammate Thuram suffered a little, maybe a blow to the head. And we have that. Yeah, there's a lot of elbow to the neck. Referee Daniel Siebert probably didn't see it.
Marcus Thuram, who sparked the comeback with his stunning effort that clipped the inside of the post on its way through for Marco Rosa's side to equalise before half-time. Here's the second goal from Alassane Plea. The French connection again coming to the fore. And there were mistakes in the build-up. The ball given away by Stuttgart inside the Gladbach half. Yep. And then the slip from Bredlow, which we have talked about. But
well, usually goals are an addition of mistakes that were made that lead up to them. If nobody makes mistakes, there were probably no goals in this game. But of course, this will come back and haunt Fabian Bredlow if it will stand as it is, and then Gladbach will advance into the next round. He will absolutely know that he could have maybe stopped Alassane Plea together with Waldemar Anton, but his slip opened all up for Alassane Plea, and he could easily collect that goal.
Yeah, striker of his quality, even with the angle tight, when the goal's at his mercy like that, rarely does Alassane Plea let a chance like that go unpunished, and he did not tonight. Gladbach as well, continuing their fine goal-scoring form in the DFB-Pokal. 15 goals in 3 games now. Admittedly tonight, the highest caliber of opposition. Elversberg, for all the respect, losing 5-0 last time out, the 4th-tier side. Before that, it was Oberneuland of the 6th tier that lost 8-0.
Yeah, you need a little bit of luck to win this competition, that's for sure. And having the lucky draw helps even more.
Yeah, Pellegrino Matarazzo talked about the fact that he knows that the DFB-Pokal is a special competition. He takes that from the time that he played in the competition. Interestingly, just one appearance, Patrick, for SG Wattenscheid 09. It was a 3-1 loss against Werder Bremen. Can you tell me one of the players in the Bremen starting lineup that night?
I did play against Wattenscheid. I think I know where you might be going with this one.
You played against Pellegrino Matarazzo. He spent 90 minutes in holding midfield that night in that 3-1 loss against Bremen.
I didn't know. I didn't know that.
That's the fun facts you dredge up as a commentator when you're digging through the treasure troves.
Yeah, but my spells with Werder Bremen in the DFB Cup didn't. I mean, we had some early losses against lower tier teams too, so yeah, that's why I probably don't remember it all. That's a good cross.
Oh, Kalajic. Well, he saw it the whole way. He was judging the flight of the ball, did well to get his head on it. A difficult one to control, and another chance goes begging for Stuttgart.
Yeah, it's a fantastic header. Actually, I give him props to get up there while running back and almost getting this one on target. I thought actually it might go in. Would have deserved it by that cross. It's a fantastic cross. I would agree with Sven Mislintat that Borna Sosa has some of the best crosses in the Bundesliga from what I've seen tonight.
No, I'm sure there's a fierce debate. What's better, Florian Neuhaus's through balls or Borna Sosa's crosses? We've seen both on show already tonight. And admittedly, we're picking those two players out, but plenty to like about everyone out on the pitch. Just under half an hour remaining here at the Mercedes-Benz Arena, and something tells me it's going to be a hard-fought half hour between these two, with a quarter-final berth on the line in Germany's Seoul Cup competition.
Yeah, but Gladbach is letting up a little bit, giving a lot of control and a lot of the ball actually to Stuttgart, in my opinion.
Much like what Stuttgart did when they took the lead in the first half.
Absolutely, and I don't think that's what Gladbach should do. Now Stindl gets involved in a little razzle-tazzle there.
Now there is going to be a change for Gladbach in the meantime. And it is Alassane Plea, the man who has put Gladbach in front right now, who is making way to be replaced by the Swiss international. Job done for Plea. Another night where he will grow in confidence. And Breel Embolo, well, he's going to be a bit of a nuisance to this Stuttgart backline for the closing stages, Patrick.
Yeah, somebody who is physical, has fresh legs now, brings some speed. It's going to be dangerous now.
Dangerous delivery, and it was a Gladbach head on the ball. And they get away with the scare once again. But they need to start heeding the falls.
Yeah, it's basically the turnaround of what we saw, because it was the other way around. Stuttgart was, you know, letting Gladbach have more of the ball and more control, and Gladbach has had more chances, and in the end scored late in that first half. And now it looks exactly the opposite. Gladbach is leading, but letting Stuttgart control this game and the pace, and Stuttgart is having chances. I wonder what's going to happen.
Well, Stuttgart have been knocked out of the DFB-Pokal by a Bundesliga side in 8 of the 10 seasons before this one. And they have actually lost their last 2 round of 16 ties in this competition.
Matarazzo is constantly pushing his team forward and telling them to hunt every ball, every possible situation.
Gonzalez flitting into a pocket of space. He really is enjoying this role of playing in the hole behind Kalajdzic, and he gets his head to the ball again. It's another headed effort from Kalajdzic. That's a hat-trick now for him.
Yeah, they are getting closer, and with these kind of crosses, they're absolutely they're fantastic. I'm really surprised that I didn't know much more about Borna Sosa and his crosses with his left foot. It's incredible. They're absolutely on point, always in the dangerous area. Very hard to defend.
And 4 assists already this season for the Croatian Borna Sosa. Might be surprised that he's Croatian with a name like that, but
yeah, that's true.
Sonny tells me he'll be knocking on the door of the national team. He has had 1 senior call-up already in his career, 23 years old. But the way he's performing with this Stuttgart side really will draw even more notice. And now come Gladbach once again. And it was a 3-on-3 there for a moment. Stindl, Embolo and Thuram up against a 3-man back line. And they've drawn another corner.
Yeah, of course, Stuttgart can allow to be sloppy in the build-up and give Gladbach now the chance to have some open room and space where they can send Breel Embolo with his fresh legs. And Christoph Kramer is still down, holding his leg.
Christoph Kramer, who made his 200th Bundesliga appearance in that 1-1 draw with Union. He picked up a yellow card and got brought off early in that one. Not quite a milestone moment to remember for him. For now, the corner for Gladbach. Oh, Elvedi with his head to the ball, but it's a flick on. Couldn't direct it goalwards.
Yeah, Elvedi, somebody who was dangerous with set pieces, especially in that game against Dortmund that you mentioned.
You brought it up
now
this time.
I brought it up, that's true. But in that game where he scored a brace after set pieces.
That has been one of the remarkable things about this Gladbach side, is their threat from dead ball situations. But I'm going to hold the thought, because Matarazzo is urging first to forward, and he went to be unselfish there, the half-time substitute, when maybe he could have gone it alone, because he had very little on there, Patrick.
Yeah, Förster was actually gone and should have gone a little further, because the guys weren't really in position at center, and he couldn't find, I think Gonzalez is what who he was looking for. But he was actually closely marked by Benzebaini, and he was the one who cleared that ball.
Now a corner for Stuttgart, their first of the game. Oh, and it was Kalajic again.
With every ball, Borna Sosa is kicking into that box of Gladbach. He finds it, one of his teammates, this time a very open, actually, Mavropanos. Both Kramer and it was Ginter. Both didn't really get up there to stop Mavropanos. And I think he was surprised and over-jumped that ball maybe a little bit.
Yeah, we saw it from Nicolas Gonzalez earlier as well. And the fact is, Borna Sosa has been a chance-creating machine tonight for Stuttgart. Interesting, though, none of the ones he's created, they've taken. Instead, it was one all of his own making from Silas Wamangituka. He did a...
Actually, one was taken, but it got taken away since it was offside by Didavi.
You're spot on. Very true. No, and I wonder whether we might look back at that phase of play as the crucial turning point in this game.
If you don't use your chances, it will come back and haunt you in the end. And in this competition, maybe more than in others, since you in the Bundesliga have a couple more chances to, you know, make up for it. But in this cup, where every game is a knockout game, there's absolutely no making up for it. So you have to use what you have.
Now, Marco Rulza, the Gladbach head coach, does have a bit of a reputation of being a cup specialist, though he's done great work in league competitions as well, it has to be said. But with Salzburg, there were some impressive runs in the Europa League. Of course, we should mention Gladbach's run in the Champions League this season, which is another feather in his cap.
But still no knockout stage. It was still a group stage where there were chances to you know, make it better the next time around. You don't get this in the DFB Cup.
No, it's all knockout stages from start to finish. And it throws up some wonderful storylines. Hearing that Gladbach are readying a change as we approach the 70-minute mark here at the Mercedes-Benz Arena. Oscar Wendt is getting ready to come on. Perhaps a signal of intent from Marco Rulza that he wants to keep things quiet, but then again, it is worth noting that Bensebaini is on a yellow card, so it could be a precautionary measure. For now, though, Gladbach looking for a third, and they've got a 4-on-3 break here if they can use the numbers to their advantage. Breel Embolo goes it alone, comes to Marcus Thuram. One goal already tonight, but not a second, denied by Breglo, and the offside flag comes very late from the assistant on the near side.
Yeah, that was the try by Breel Embolo, almost from the same angle and position where he finished the first half with this goal. But again, I think Gladbach was a little sloppy with this one. They were, you know, had a man more in numbers there and had a great chance of adding to the lead, but gave that away with a pass to a offside Breel Embolo. That's a good ball.
Nice little reverse pass as well. Oh, Gonzalez looking lively there, and it needed a block from Elvedi. An important interception there from the Gladbach centre-back, but Stuttgart want to see Gonzalez on the ball more often, but the problem is, as they go in search of an equaliser, they are leaving themselves a little exposed at the back, and there is just under 20 minutes remaining, Patrick. A long time to go as we see the change made, and it's Thuram for Wendt, which really is a sign from Marco Rulza.
Yeah, it is a sign that he wants more defensive stability, even though, no, I think it's Leiner who left the pitch, is it? No, he was just doing a handshake there with Oscar Wendt.
Getting ready for the throw-in.
Yeah, it is Marcus Thuram. That's, of course, a more defensive player brought on. Now they're going to switch a little bit around.
Well, I think Bensebaini will now be playing left midfield as opposed to left back, potentially. Although I say that, and Wendt's actually ahead of Bensebaini out on the pitch, so maybe we should rethink that.
I think they want to add... Oh, that was a mistake from Mavropanos there.
Here is Wendt's first touch. Oh, it's a brilliant first touch as well.
Yeah.
Wreaking havoc in the Stuttgart box, but Bredlo got a touch and Anton completes the clearance.
Yeah, big mistake there, how Mavropanos gave that ball away, and that was what came after that. Bredlo could have controlled that one better as well, but no harm done in the end. But again, Stuttgart is very present towards Tobias Sippel's goals. That's probably Marco Rose added another defensive player.
Hoffmann again goes short with the corner, gets it back from Stindl, but is coming from an offside position. Stuttgart did well to move their lines out quickly to catch the Germany international.
Yeah, it's going to be great to see what these next 18 minutes, plus maybe a little bit of additional time, is going to look like. I think Wamangituka got very quiet since he had a lively start and a lively first half, actually. I think he really feels the different kind of duty he had today. Maybe we will see some fresh legs for Stuttgart as well. There is some movement down there by the bench. And it's about time to come up with new solutions.
Yeah, hearing that Roberto Massimo and Mateo Klimovic are getting ready to come on for Stuttgart. And something tells me, having just seen a bit of a defensive change from Marco Rose, we might see some attacking changes from Pellegrino Matarazzo.
Yeah, it would be a surprise. And that was a surprise as well for Wamangituka. That ball from Gonzalez. He was angry with himself that this one slipped him. Would it be a great surprise if we would see some defensive additions for the Stuttgart team with some fresh ideas, and Klimovic indeed is one of the guys who will be coming on. And Roberto Massimo is the other one. And every time those clever passes straight into the center of Gladbach.
Here is Wamangituka. Plenty of Gladbach shirts there to rebuff the advances of Stuttgart once again.
Gladbach defending very deep. I don't think this is what Marco Rose had in mind with this team.
Yeah, they're running the same risk that Stuttgart ran in the first half.
Again, some room there for Mangala. Couldn't convert it.
Every single player on the pitch inside the Gladbach half right now. And that might be a common picture for the closing quarter of an hour. The fact is, though, the Foles will be looking for their chances on the counter. Something tells me they might have one or two. And the question is, will they capitalize on those chances? Because right now it feels like this game has been decided by not just moments of individual quality, Patrick, but also a few mistakes in the ranks as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But Gonzalez didn't get this foul he really wanted. But something I just noticed is that by the addition of Oscar Wendt, Marco Rose switched into a 5-back row, which gets them a little bit wider and allows Leiner to defend those dangerous crosses from Borna Sosa a little better. So that's a clever move from Marco Rose. We were surprised, actually, with taking Thuram off and showing or waving the defensive flag that early, but it absolutely makes sense after what we've seen and how many crosses we've seen from Borna Sosa. And now he put Leiner on his toes, so to say. But still, Gladbach has to come up with some ideas going forward to keep Stuttgart from having the ball and creating ideas and moments.
Given away in midfield by Gladbach, but they've won it back well here with Breel Embolo. And now here is those chances for them to break on the counter. Lars Stindl not rushing.
And Stuttgart already back in numbers now to defend that.
And is that the difference, that Gladbach need to not just rush it there necessarily, because that breeds potentially a bit of panic and a few mistakes in their build-up play, but they want to move it quickly there instead of slowing themselves down?
Yeah, they should move it quickly, because, you know, they need to use one of these moments to add to the numbers, because I don't think those two goals are enough to call this a secure win. He's going to stay tight for the next 13 plus minutes. And with new fresh legs down there for Stuttgart, I don't think it's getting better for Gladbach or easier. And Mangala, the guy I called out to be a little exhausted because he was breathing heavily and not really working defensively as good as he did in the first half, is one that leaves the pitch.
Yeah, he kept his fine goal-scoring form going, Silas Wamengituka, but it has been a tough night at the office for him, I think it's fair to say, as we see Lars Stindl. Well, he's been booked for an accumulation of fouls and maybe a few words shared with the referee as well.
And I almost missed it, but Mavropanos was the other guy leaving the pitch.
Yeah, so one like-for-like change out on the wing, but an attacking change with Klimovic coming on for Mavropanos, who was on a yellow card as well, we should point out.
Yeah, he had that big chance, that free header that he over-jumped a little. Touched it more with the nose than with his forehead. But this is going to be very dangerous for Stuttgart as well now, with Mavropanos out. One clear-cut defender out. And it gives Gladbach the chance to break away whenever they get to the ball.
Here's Philipp Förster. Sosa in support, first-time cross. The first disappointing one of the night.
I was about to say the same, yeah.
But over the course of 90 minutes, that's to be expected.
That's some okay stats,
right?
Borna Sosa has there.
9 good crosses, 1 dud out of 10. You'll take that all day of the week.
But just look at how closely Leiner marks him now. He can't even get to the ball. And if Leiner is beaten, then there's Ginter now, because there's just one more man defending in that defensive role of Gladbach. And it's going to be very hard now to find those wing positions in Massimo and Sosa to deliver those dangerous crosses. They have to find a different way now. Maybe another chance there.
Yeah, seeing some of the flashes of brilliance. A nutmeg from Gonzalez, and then a nice little evasion tactic there from Daniel Siebert, willing to get nutmegged himself, or as they call it here in Germany, a tunnel. I don't think I need to translate that one. It's a very easy one-for-one.
It's Endo now who plays kind of the last man for Mavropanos.
Yeah, he's not just closing the spaces in midfield now, he's closing them at the back as well.
Everywhere on the pitch.
To point out as well that the rain is absolutely throwing down here in Stuttgart as well for the what is now final 10 minutes potentially of this round of 16 tie. But lest we forget, it was Stuttgart who made it all the way to the 96th minute a few weeks ago in the Bundesliga in that 2-2 draw before they equalized. So Gladbach will not need any further warning that they cannot afford to rest on their laurels at any point of this game.
And if you need some extra spectacular ingredient for a cup game, this is the rain. I mean, what did we need more? It's a little chilly down there. It's a roughened up pitch. It's two fantastic teams playing. Physical was it, but there's still some fantastic football being played. And now for the last 10 minutes, it opened up and is pouring at the moment. Fantastic cup night. A lot of complaining there by Gonzalez.
He's the latest player to go into the book. Daniel Siebert has let a lot go in terms of the physical challenges, and I think as a result that's only going to bring about a few complaints. Yeah. And Gonzalez has a point there.
He has, absolutely. There's a lot of arm stretched into the face of Gonzalez by Christoph Kramer.
Quickly taken free kick. It's knocked down to Breel Embolo. Again, Gladbach just catching Stuttgart napping a little bit at the back. Now with Stindl, Leiner going to continue his run. Instead it goes to the opposite flank with Ben Sabaini.
And this is exactly those moments what Gladbach is looking for now, you know, collecting fouls, taking time, crucial time off the clock. It's just this team is a little more mature than the Stuttgart team. And that makes a big difference sometimes.
Yeah, especially in these high-pressure situations where, let's be honest, Gladbach do have more experience of knockout competition at the highest level than Stuttgart. Plenty of international representatives in the Gladbach team as well. Neuhaus, Ginter and Hofmann, the German contingent amongst them. Though a case being made for Lars Stindl this season, and he's talked about potentially maybe not representing the national team fully, but representing them at the Olympics instead, which certainly would be a nice touch for Lars Stindl, who has won the Confederations Cup as a Germany international. Gonzalez flicking the header clear.
And of course, another couple of important seconds given away there by Gladbach.
Liner, the first choice throw-in taker, obviously has to give way. Does Jonas Hofmann. Here's Neuhaus out to Wendt. He's got space to work with, but again, it's the cautious approach. The first instinct right now for Gladbach is to go backwards instead of forwards. As I say that, Neuhaus does win the corner.
Yeah, corners, free kicks, throw-ins, it's all crucial time that is working for Gladbach now. There's absolutely no rush there.
Here comes a big throw of the dice, though, from Stuttgart. Patrick Tanguy Koulibaly coming on to replace Orel Mangala. So that is a forward on for a defensive midfielder. Meanwhile, also changes being made by Gladbach, and Jonas Hofmann giving the throw-in to Stefan Liner as his final action of the game. Hannes Wolf coming on, so too Dennis Zakaria. Both dropped from the starting lineup, having started against Union. Hannes Wolf, as well, we should mention, has made his loan deal from Leipzig permanent now, because a clause has been triggered in the deal where if he made a certain amount of appearances for Gladbach, it had to become a permanent deal. They've hit that mark already. Marco Rosa has got one of his favourite players back under his wing. And it was Nico Elvedi, the man in fine goal-scoring form, this time unable to add a fourth to his record this season.
Yeah, I have to correct you there. Just at one point, it's not Mangala that left the pitch. It's actually Borna Sosa, since he wasn't, you know, really working for Stuttgart anymore. They took him off the pitch and brought... Who was it? Tanguy Koulibaly, exactly.
That's it, you're right. I saw 23, but you're right, it was the 24 that was raised to Borna Sosa.
Yeah, but it absolutely makes sense, since there was Liner standing on his feet all the time. It was a giveaway. So was this ball, but he got it right back there. Klimowitz for Stuttgart.
Interestingly, Koulibaly's gone up front. Gonzalez seems to have drifted to the left wing. This really is a case of all-out attack, you feel, from Stuttgart here in the last 5 minutes at the Mercedes-Benz Arena. They took an early lead. They've been pegged back, and it could get worse here. Chance for a third for Gladbach. But it's another chance tonight that isn't taken. Dennis Zakaria bursting forward.
Yeah, of course, he has an advantage in speed on Endo, gets past him, and then loses a little bit of that advantage. And in the end, should have collected a corner for this one, in my opinion, but didn't get it. It was a goal kick, even though I think it was Kempf who deflected that ball into out of bounds. But in Stuttgart's, or from Stuttgart's point of view, there's still a lot of time left, since the experience they had when they scored late in the 96 minutes.
I was just thinking about it. I'm not quite sure they'll have 6 minutes added on here, but they certainly will have a couple. We've had a goal, a few injury stoppages as well.
Yeah, substitutions, yellow cards, it all added to that.
Pellegrino Matarazzo, he said his side were raring to go for this game. He said he felt the levels of anticipation and motivation in training. And the fact is, his side can still be proud of this performance. Again, they've acquitted themselves very well against a high-caliber opposition as Liner bursts past two. Is there a third in this for Gladbach? Well, Bradlow closes the door for now. But Stuttgart are living so dangerously. And I say that, and they can come down the other end now in transition and maybe push for an equaliser, because the white shirts are streaming forward, but the pass was behind all of them.
Yeah, but it's Kalajdzic who gets that ball back.
Gonzalez, well, I can't tell whether that was a cross or a shot.
Yeah, I think it was a fancy approach to a real bend around liner, who had that nutmeg against Kempf, and then couldn't find somebody at center, or it's rather Bredlow who stopped him from doing that.
Couple of times tonight, though, that the crosses from Gladbach have gone straight into the gloves of Bredlow, and I think that's something that Marco Rose might look at and say, yes, we could have improved in those positions.
And he just has to watch on the other side of the pitch, because there were some really good crosses there before they figured out how to stop Bonasosa from doing that.
And it is why Marco Rose has a reputation as a tactical mastermind, as well as being a very good man motivator and man manager. To be honest, it's one of the reasons he keeps being linked with the Dortmund job right now. For now, though, his focus on Gladbach. And it was Gladbach's record appearance maker of all time in all competitions, Bertie Vogts, who says he hopes that Rosa knows what a good thing he's got. But for now, a chance for Stuttgart on the turn. It was Roberto Massimo. Didn't have a lot of time and space to work with. And we've got another player that stayed down here off the ball for Gladbach.
That's Brelembolo, of course. I don't want to get him wrong. There was a collision, yeah. He collected a, let's say, an elbow or a hand to the face. And of course, it hurts a little more towards the end of a game than it usually does during or in the middle of a game.
Yeah, but Stuttgart need to be careful not to give them the invite to take these seconds off the clock.
Don't give away fouls, throw-ins, all the set pieces. The chances for Gladbach to take crucial time off the clock.
Is it 1 minute of normal time remaining? But late goals have been a running theme in the DFB-Pokal this season.
I'm pretty sure we don't get to see those 2 more goals I was expecting, actually.
Well, I tell you, if we're going to get to your prediction of it being in extra time.
But it just has to be that one on the one side, and then we are absolutely up for some more in extra time. But at the moment, it all looks in Gladbach's favor. And when I did the halftime sum up, the halftime interview down there by the pitch, I was actually saying that to me Gladbach is in favor because they have the momentum, they leveled it late, they have a little bit more experience with these kind of situation, they play a little bit mature, and overall that to me looks like they can really do it, and right now it seems to be coming true.
Yeah, and every attack that peters out for Stuttgart, as we see 3 minutes of time added on at the end of the 90, every attack that peters out for Stuttgart just takes a bit more wind out of their sails. It takes away that little bit more belief that they can get that all-important equaliser. But they do have 3 more minutes to work with here on home soil.
And they had the moments, actually. They were there. They had those crosses, those headers, but they had a lot of these kind of passes, these kind of mistakes. Denying them, but still, it isn't over.
Förster. This is dangerous from Stuttgart. Well, it's Marc-Oliver Kempf there playing as an auxiliary striker. Trying to create in the closing stages, but a corner here for Stuttgart. Again, they've only had 1 this game.
Yeah, now the man with the left foot is out. Gonzalez is the one who has to take that corner.
And Fabian Bredlow up from the back as well. It's going to be a throw-in for Stuttgart. They've got 2 players wanting to take it, and
nobody there to collect it, actually. That's you have to be careful with this kind of passes.
Bredlow's just going to camp out on the halfway line by the look of it, in the off chance he gets another corner to go up for. For now, they settle for the throw-in, Stuttgart. The time is winding down. They can't afford to pass backwards. They've really got to get this forward. Kempf is going to attack. Loses out in the air against Ginter. Mangala first to the loose ball. Cross dug out towards Kalajdzic. Plenty of white shirts in the box. Koulibaly. Klimovic back to Koulibaly now. Carved out the cross, and well, there was a hint of a handball in there. Ooh. I will wait to see the replay to see how convincing it was. Kalajdzic got his head on the ball. It was going on target.
What a story that would be.
Well, after what happened yesterday,
yeah.
Patrick.
And here we have a closer look. It's Kalajdzic. There's a lot of hands for both on the shirts. And there is touch of, was it Linus? Oh, they didn't give it. Ooh, they let this one play on very fast, actually.
Well, Ginter, I think, just about avoided it, but Liner didn't, and it wasn't in a natural position.
Nope, it was a little stretched out, that arm by Liner, but very fast how they decided that it was a correct.
Well, it was Felix Passlack that gave away a late penalty for Dortmund last night. Borussia Mönchengladbach looked to avoid the same fate as Anton finally goes into the referee's book. I think he's done well to get to this point without getting a booking.
Yeah, but this one is one, that sounds funny, but this one is actually a yellow card. But I'm not over how fast they you know, get that situation over with there, with that handball. To me,
well, the full-time whistle goes, and it was Stuttgart who took an early lead, but the comeback qualities of Gladbach came to the fore tonight as their French connection combined either side of half-time. Marcus Thuram levelling the scores before the break. Alassane Plea wrapping up the win in the end, but it was hard fought. This was a game between two evenly matched sides, and in the end, mistakes and individual moments of brilliance were what decided it. But it's Gladbach who have booked their place in the quarterfinals as they look to return to the DFB-Pokal final in Berlin with the door wide open in the competition. Final score at the Mercedes-Benz Arena is Stuttgart 1, Gladbach 2.